If my son, age of 17 years, requested to stay outside 1 or 2 days a week, home until 2 a.m., spending time with Muslim friends, watching film or in a non-religious activity, what do I say to him? And how do I convince him not to come home so late?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I was just asking why the first question has to be so hard. You can start with easy and then go on to the little bit difficult one. But I think I should say, honestly speaking, that this is a very practical question which I believe most of the parents face when their children are entering the stage of being teenagers. And that's the stage when our children, they feel that they are independent, they can make their own decision, and sometimes these kind of debates or arguments can start at home. That, don't you trust me? I know what's right and wrong. Why you have to put restrictions upon me? I have to go out and be with my friends, and if the restrictions are placed against their will, there is rebellion and defiance at times. Conflict starts between the parents and the teenagers, and these relations between the parents and children can deteriorate very rapidly and can end up into disaster. My humble reaction or the suggestion at this time is that I believe when this happened, it probably is very late, although something can be done, but it should have been started at a very early age. The education and tarbiyah and the training of the children starts soon after their birth. That's when the parents have to provide the proper education, proper model of a true Muslim who believes in the authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Sunnah of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in his example, and in her example as a mother, we exemplify, we show that we are serious as Muslims about the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in the strong family system, which is based upon love and affection between the children and their parents. So therefore, I believe that this should start at a very early age, and then when you reach in the later stage of development of the children, being teenagers and so on, and adults even, and grown-ups, when these ideas have been put in their minds of the love of Allah, the love of the parents and the family, and the respect for Allah and the respect for each other, then it is easy to understand why something is being told to them. This is one thing. The second thing is, which has already been told by the moderator, is the communication between the parents and children, which again should start at the early age. And this communication is not one-way thing, that I said it and you had to listen it and you had to do it. This communication has to be a two-way street, because I know that many of the parents like myself who are immigrants, we do have a cultural background where it is one-way street. When the parents tell you something, you're supposed to listen and you're to do that, whether you like it or not. But living in this society, I'm sure all of us have learned that it doesn't go that way. Over here, when you say something, right away the question comes, why? Why you have to do this? Why you have to do that? So there's no need to be offended about this, but to sit down and explain in accordance with the teaching of the Quran and Sunnah and the wisdom which Allah has given to us. We should sit down and explain that this is why it is important. You may not understand now, but you will realize it later on. And then when there is a relation of love, compassion, understanding, not a relation of a disciplinarian sitting there and telling the person that you have to do this. This relationship has to be built there. The relationship of trust between the children and the parents. And when this is explained then in a logical way, in a wise way, with compassion and love, then the child will understand in most cases. So having said what I did, I think this is very important for us to understand as parents, those who are parents and those who are going to be parents, that we should start this early age, we should develop communication, we should be ready to listen to the questions and why kind of question and try to explain those in the best possible way we can. Then inshallah I think our job will become easier. Otherwise, if one day we wake up to the reality that as long as the child was small, till elementary stage or early middle school, and he was listening to everything, and now that he's in the high school, all of a sudden he's saying, why you don't trust me? Why can't I make my own decision? I know what's right and wrong. So these kind of debates then start at this age. If we have missed the opportunity of the early childhood development in which the relationship of love, compassion, understanding should have been developed, if we miss that opportunity, then it may be late. But still there is chance to do that, and there are ways and means I think will be addressed. But at this point I will again emphasize that we have to develop the relationship of very close understanding, love, compassion, and so that the children develop this feeling that my best friend, my closest allies are my parents, my mother and my father. I know that they have the best for me in their mind and their hearts. So when we have this kind of a relationship, I think most of the problem will be, inshallah, become very easy to resolve and to answer these questions. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah khair.